Well, I was gonna say, like, what do you think of my new pro setup? I've got a webcam, I've got a microphone.
Sick. Very cool.
Thank
Very,
you.
very cool. I've got a mic, so we're good. I've got mics. I've just,
Good. And you've actually soft blurred your background, which I was going to ask you to do.
yeah, I've got I'm using the center stage, so if I move, it should also move with me, which is quite cool. It's a Mac thing, iPhone thing. So when you move out from things, it sort of zooms out and zooms in.
Yeah, nice. Well, welcome to the DMD podcast. One thing I wanted to ask you about, and maybe we'll kick off with this because I was thinking about it this morning with your career and the way that you've built what you have, is everything you've done has required so much self-discipline. And I know you're running now and I saw that you're sober as well. And so I was wondering if maybe we could start with talking about that. What's your journey been like? Have you always been a very self-motivated person? And do you find it easy to set yourself a task and complete it?
Yeah, do you know I have? Yeah, I have. I've always like going way back to school. It was like I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to get up and now when it's work, it's like, well, it's my company. So something you were asking me the other week. I was actually in Berlin the other day and speaking at the Berlin dance event, and I was with the touring guys, and they were like, "So when the alarm goes off, do you just get up? Do you kind of push it back? Do you like?" And I went, "What alarm? I don't have an alarm. I just get up. Like my body wakes up at 5 or half 4, and I go, let's go, and just kind of come down. I've been fasting,
And you
so
didn't
having some
train that.
fruit.
You didn't train that with an alarm. That just
No. I've always woken up early. Like even when I was young, I woke up early. Like I'm definitely a morning person, which is weird to today because I'm knackered. But always always been a morning person, and always just kind of got up and ready to go. And now when I've got like the last few years, I saw this thing on YouTube, and it was like tell yourself what you want to do before you start the next day before you go to bed. So
Mhm.
like I normally fall asleep somewhere between 9:30 and 10. So I kind of go to bed early and get my allotted time. But I think that's just me being older. Like when I was younger, I definitely would push it a little bit later. But now I'm older, I just I'm tired and I fall asleep. I'm just done from the day. But then I'm up early, so it kind of counterbalances. But yeah, I just sort of say, right, I need to do this. First thing in the morning, it's always about one thing. And it's always like, I need to write a script for YouTube. So I need to get up, write a script, um, and nothing else. Like no email goes on. No, literally, it's like um, Google Docs and ChatGPT and maybe some YouTube to research or something I've researched
Yeah.
that's open. But other than that, like phone goes behind me on the desk behind me, sort of thing, and um, yeah,
You
just
make
kind
sure
of
that one thing gets done.
yeah, it's always one thing in the morning, and then it goes. Then it's like a couple of hours of that, and then maybe go do some exercise, either a workout or go for a run, like say.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I'm a morning person as well, always have been. And
Nice.
so I get everything done in the morning. But people always ask me how that works with being a DJ and being connected to
Mm,
nightlife. I actually think it's quite, for me, it's quite healthy and helpful. And I don't find it hard to stay up when I am out until five,
mm.
6 or whatever. But then as soon as I'm kind of back in my week, I'm up early and bed early. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, do you know when I was well, especially when I was younger, when I was like running data transmission, I'd go like I'd be out till silly o'clock, but then I'd be up. Like my body would naturally wake up after a few hours sleep, and like I'd be. I remember times I've been to ADE and you're out till 5 in the morning, and then I'm like I'll be waking up by 9:30 and going right. It's ADE. I need to go again.
Yeah.
I'll be up for 10 o'clock down to the first conferences for 11, and like
The
come
marathon and the
as
sprint that is 80.
yeah. Um, and then just like when I get home, I'll just crash for a day and just kind of
Yeah.
like just regain that sleep. Or like when I was younger, when we were going out to clubs for data transmission, I'd get up, I'd be out, so then I'd get up at 10, and then like middle of the afternoon, I'd probably have a doze and just kind of like, as long as I'd got the morning done and
Okay.
forced myself through the morning, I knew I had kind of like that my stuff that I need to do. Like I know for data transmission, I have stuff that I have to do every day. And
Yeah.
again, I was saying to somebody earlier, like I have there's a foot full on the gas mode of Graham where it's just like I want to do 60. I've got a 16-hour day planned, and I'm going to get this, and this done. And then there's a day like today where I am really tired from traveling last week. I had a long day stay at the football with my mum. And today the body is definitely needs to rest. So there is the foot off the gas where it's like, I've got a small stuff, a lot of data transmission I need to do. I'm not live streaming. I've got no call, hardly any calls. I'll finish at sort of dinner time and not work till 9 o'clock at night. And then and just like listen to my body now and listen to it saying that you're tired, because I know, again, I've got this week, I've got Brighton Music Conference coming up and I've got a packed schedule for that. So taking today and just resting, and then tomorrow I'll do some exercise in the morning just to refresh the body and refresh the mind. And
And do you take days off? Do you have any full days off?
does the weekend count? Like,
Yeah, but the thing is, as you said, Brighton Music Conference. I mean, that's is it Thursday to Saturday? But
so
a
we're
lot of the
going
conferences are on weekends, or they cover off.
Yes, so we're going Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, coming home Friday. I've got my daughter on Saturday and Sunday, and then obviously it's Bank Holiday Monday, but I'll probably work Bank Holiday Monday. I always think that when you're self-employed and a parent, Bank Holiday Mondays don't really count as anything. Like they just count as a day less of working when you've got a 5-day work schedule. They're just a day less. So it means you've got to do all the work. I'd rather just work a little bit if I've got no family, nothing family to do, it's just me, and I might work it. And then because next week is also half term, so I've got you always come back from conferences, it's always half term. Like ADE, can't you get back from conferences, it's always half term. So I know I've got time with my daughter, and that's like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday next week. So I've got a lot of time. That's the only time I really take off, when it's family holiday or time with my daughter.
Yeah. The nice thing about that is it forces you to be really present, because if you're there with your daughter, it's like you zone into that. Well, let's talk about data transmission. 17 years since you founded it. That's crazy. Right. And also just a huge achievement. I mean, I think to keep something going for that long, and obviously it's evolved so much over time, but can you take me back to the beginning and what it started as and why you started it?
Yeah, so it actually started way before that, like, because we used to be a magazine in a nightclub called Terminals in London, which we used to basically we had the club, and we were doing lots of the nights for the club and promoting lots of the nights and organising, kind of putting on all the nights. Like we were putting on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, Sundays, sometimes every week. Like it wasn't outside promoters or people coming in to put parties on. Like it was us just doing it. So then we had all the flyers and all the lineups, and we were like, well, we're just printing all these flyers. We might as well just make a magazine. Like the amount of flyers we're doing per month, or even like when it was like per quarter, we were like, well, we might as well do a magazine, and we can just kind of make our own magazine. And then we called it Data Transmission. And I've got one somewhere in here, locked up in a file. And then when the club closed, it was like, well, I could take that online. Blogs were a big thing back then. Magazines were a big thing. Well, starting to be a thing. Like Resident Advisor was a thing, Fact was a thing. Mixmag, DJ Mag not, because they just were literally like the cover of they just literally used their website as the cover of their magazine. And that was it, just to kind of promote their physical magazine. So it wasn't much, and then there was the blogs, there was all the blog spaces. So there's lots of blogs. There were some great blogs as well back then. And that was really blog space. Like even like a Feel My Bicep, they were a blog back then, and they were kind of growing their time in the space. Like I love their little story that they grew as a blog and turned into Bicep, which is mental, you know.
Me too. It's quite common that people have some kind of writing or online presence before they move through as an artist, but Bicep is a great example.
Yeah.
But I never followed. I was kind of later, so I never followed their blog to know what the content of that was like. But
oh my god, it was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant. They were literally just finding music that they loved and then putting it on their blog and writing about it and going, this is a track we've been playing. And I think they were just posting like clips, or maybe even uploading. I think you could upload the MP3. So maybe they were uploading like MP3s to a player that you couldn't download, but you could just kind of play them on their blog and going, this is a track we've found. We absolutely love it. Really, really simple content, like if you think about it, but really, really good. Like for the heads and for the people that kind of, you'd find their blog and go, shit, this is good music. And then from that you'd want to go and see them DJ. So it was like you'd want to see them play all this music in a club, which then meant, for them was then turned into bookings, and all that kind of world, of growing as an artist.
Yeah.
So that was the space we were in, and like we started a podcast back then, which is I've still got the podcast today. So the main podcast for like 17 years as well. Like
wow.
And so much stuff like happened back then. Like I was thinking the other day when I launched our podcast, we built this platform to literally to upload the podcast to the website, but also to put it on all of the podcast platforms. We basically created like the thing that is Spotify for podcasts. Now we literally built that sort of system, and like didn't do anything with it. We built like that like when Anchor came out a few years ago, I was like, I built this system a few years ago. Like, why didn't I
You're
just
like,
make
probably
this
should have
into?
white
Probably should
labeled
have turned
that.
that. Probably should have. Well, yeah, probably should have white labeled that system because that was actually like literally does the same as Anchor does. Like, and then Anchor was bought by Spotify for podcasts. I was like, oh crap! Like, we had something there. Shit. What was I thinking?
Instead of just fixing this for ourselves, we've got to fix it for everyone.
Like we would have just Anyway, live and learn.
Anyway.
We had a good time. And then so we just like using it as the blog, and the blog was kind of doing all right. We took on too many staff. Like I went up to 19 staff at one point, and that was mental. Considering now we've got like 4, and we do much more as well now. Grew too quickly, made loads of mistakes. Like tried to launch a ticketing platform, which was just stupid. Like there was already people in that space, so why try and go into it and fight it? Like we lost so much money. I'm still paying back some money now, like because I made some stupid business mistakes. Like didn't understand it. I always think like understand the business of what you're trying to do now. Like whatever you're trying to do, understand the business first and how the actual business works and actual business terms, because through the years I've made some, like I've just gone, let's do this, and then not really understood the business of it, and then it's ended up in like a problem for me, and a problem like I've had to try and fix later down the line. And if I just understood what the business was.
Yeah. And when you say understand the business, can you kind of like unpack that a little bit? Because obviously one of the great ways to understand something is to do it, but as you say, if it puts you at financial risk, then you're not going to be able to capitalize off any benefits.
So it's just like understand the business terms, which now you can just ask ChatGPT. I want to do this. What does this mean in like HMRC world? What does this understand in like company's house? What does this understand in like what are the actual business terms of what I'm trying to do? And what are the real what will terms that people in the business world use? Because when you go down to if you need to go down to lawyers and go down to that sort of thing because you've made a mistake, then you need to go, well, I was doing this and this and this. And they'll go, okay. And then they'll understand where you're at, and they'll be able to kind of fight your corner. If you go, well, I started doing this thing and it kind of, and then it turned into, and then this massive problem happened, they're going to go, that's going to cost you a load of the money for them to kind of unpack what you've done and understand what you've done. Whereas if you know what you're doing, it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like I had a little thing later on. Yeah, I had a little thing later on where I was trying to license. What I was doing was licensing the brand. I didn't realize I was licensing the brand, and then it turned into a problem. And then I was like, oh god, again, I didn't know the business. So now it's like, take that moment before the creative brain goes, oh, I want to do this exciting thing, and oh, I want to go forward, and then it's got to be like, what does the business brain need to understand? I ask AI now, or I'll ask Google and go and understand that part first before I push the go button and make sure I understand all of the things that needs to happen. There's some stuff I want to do in the future, and like we were talking about, it was like, have you considered like what this implication means? And I was like, oh no, I haven't. I was like, right, understand the business again. AI, I'm trying to do this thing.
Lesson.
Yeah, literally. But it was good because we had the conversation and took our foot off the brake and went, not just push go and test and try things in the field, which I do like doing, but I'm now, I think as older, just getting a bit more careful and protecting myself a little bit more and the family a little bit more.
Yeah, feeling a little bit more responsibility. At the same time, I think something that you have been really good at, I mean, I've been following data transmission probably only for about 4 to 5 years. But even in that period of time, you've constantly been in this like constant state of evolution. So you kind of have not so much pivoting, but just constantly evolving to match what's going on. And someone who was kind of mentoring me a bit gave me this advice to pivot a lot and not be afraid to do that. And I was wondering, how you approach that and how you make decisions about what's right to go after as a business and as an individual.
Yeah, I've always thought, thank you. I've always thought that Where's the new fan? Like, we've got a current fan, that's in the community, so we've got to kind of keep them like, well, they're into the stuff we're doing already, so that's cool, and we kind of keep them happy and kind of build that community. But also, where's my new fan? Like, where's the one that's like just finding dance music and just finding this world, and what, like, how do I locate those? And like, sometimes it's been a case of shifting platform and shifting into a platform. Like, I think when we jumped on SoundCloud, there was a massive, like, that was such a long time ago, 2010
Mm.
maybe, and there was such a hype about it. And I was like, I didn't want to go on it at the start, and I was like, and I was fighting against it. I was like, why am I fighting against it? It's a great place to grow the brand. Like, we can be the brand on the platform, on this other platform, as well
Mm.
as just the big brand, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't make the same with Facebook, and didn't jump on Facebook quick enough, and then it's like, could have had a much bigger mouth to shout with on Facebook than we have, and more active on there, definitely through those
Yeah.
years. Because again, it was like, you're not trying to fight against Facebook, you're trying to use Facebook's platform to build your own brand. And now I kind of, after years of mistakes, I understand that now. The social platforms are just marketing platforms and great places to build communities. So it's like, pivot a
Yeah.
little bit onto those, and as they evolve, then understand them. But also, where's the new fan? Like, I'm super interested in things like Roblox, and like,
Mm.
are there potential new fans that will find dance music, or is there a way of to tap into dance music through Roblox and build something in Roblox that will find data transmission, because they're reach in an age where they're playing with music and they're liking music, like, and can they find the brand there and then become a fan later down the line, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
And those sort of platforms where it's like, how does that new fan find us always?
Yeah. I mean, I've made that mistake so many times where I've discovered a platform like TikTok, posted a few lazy videos like 6 years ago or something, maybe
Mm.
even longer, and didn't fully invest in it. And I've done that. And actually now with Substack, I've because that's the platform, one of the platforms that I'm investing a fair bit of energy with, two
Love that.
newsletters, and DMD, which is Dance Music Digest. The center of it is on Substack, and this podcast will probably go out there in full on Substack and in
Nice.
clips on other channels. But it's there's so many platforms. It is just quite overwhelming sometimes. I think Roblox is super interesting. I wouldn't even know where to begin. And do you just spend a bit of time on there and then just see if you can find a way to make your platform make sense there?
Yeah, fortunately, my time has been kind of like, when I got some time back with my daughter a few years ago, it was like, do you want to play Roblox together? So we literally were playing Roblox together,
Mm,
and I was kind of enjoying playing Roblox together, like really, really just like playing the games, having fun with her, and spending time with her. But at the same time, and I'd come away from it and go, I wonder if I can build something in Roblox. And then you start looking into it and seeing like Adidas and Spotify have got like Roblox worlds in there, and then you're like,
mm,
hmm, they've got like, what if you built like a whole production thing in there, or what if you built like a, even it was simple, like you were used, because you've got all your, because we've got 5 record labels, can I take some of the stems and the parts, and you can kind of remix live in Roblox? But then it's like, the next thing is, how do I do that? I haven't worked that out
yeah,
yet. But you know, I love the fact you're in Substack. That's cool. Like, I like that platform. I've looked at that platform a lot, and I agree, there are a lot of platforms, and I really just focus on a few key ones now for us. Like, I did the same. I kind of jumped on TikTok a bit and posted a few, and got a bit of a following. But then I was like, I went deep into YouTube and Instagram, and obviously I'm big in SoundCloud as well. So it's like,
yeah,
there's only so much time, and there's only so much team, and there's only so much me.
yeah,
And I always think, like, just do 1 or 2 platforms really, really well, and make them work for you. Like, I spend so much time making YouTube, right, and trying to understand YouTube, because it's such a beast, and it's such a, like, how to understand, like with any social, it's understanding how people use it, and the content people want on it, and how people search for content, and how long they watch content, and just getting, understanding human behavior is more what social's about than actually what anything else is about. Like understanding how we all use it is the key to any platform, really,
yeah.
and each
And for
platform's
me,
different.
YouTube is critical because it always has been. It's never not been. I mean, at least for the past 12 years, YouTube has been probably the most influential social platform, and SoundCloud as well. I know it sort of felt like it maybe had a bit of a dip, maybe like a few years
Mm,
ago, but it still feels for me like the most important platform to actually build a fan base around your music. I think
mm,
most of the other in my opinion, like doors and stuff, there's just so much passive listening, whereas SoundCloud people I feel like still really dig, and I definitely discover artists on there. It's just much more artist centric or label centric, you know, that you get a lot more information about them on that platform. So I agree with you. So
Yeah, YouTube. I saw YouTube was 20 the other week. Like literally while we were at IMS, it was like YouTube was 20, which was mental. And I've been going hard on YouTube. Maybe, well, I had a DT account, and then something happened to it, and then I started my account, and I've been going hard with my account maybe 6 years, 7 years. 20, yeah, 20. I think I saw it as 2017. So maybe that's 7 years. I've been going, and I'm up to like 46,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is cool. And I got like, I can't wait. No, thank you. I want to get to 100. Like, I really want one of those things, you know, that like on the wall there. I want one of those little silver things. Like, I don't even know why. Like, it's just like it's such a vanity thing. Like, the subscriber count really doesn't matter to anything really. Like, the view count and people watching it and the comments and the other metrics that we watch from each video are far more important than subscribers. But it'd just be nice.
Yeah.
It's just be like, oh look, I did it. Like, I did it.
For someone
and
listening
yeah, you're
who
right.
hasn't, oh no, I was just going to say on YouTube quickly, for someone listening who hasn't maybe invested on the channel, can you give some guidance or advice that you've learned in those 6 years that you've invested?
Yeah, so YouTube with anything, like I think it's great for DJs. I did a video the other week, last week, about video for DJs using YouTube and how to use it kind of to grow as a DJ, because there's some great DJ accounts on there, and all they do is DJ. It's like it's perfect for DJs because it's visual. You can see your DJing, you can play records, and the copyright thing is there's ways to understand it, and you can test before you even upload a mix. And I've got a video on that. But it's like, if people don't watch your mix, then if they don't click, then they don't watch your mix. The title of your mix or your video is the most important thing. The thumbnail and how you're packaging your video. So you might want to talk about, for me, I might want to talk about a subject, but I might package it with a certain title and a certain thumbnail, because then that's going to result in a click rather than anyone just scrolling past. So if you don't click, you don't listen. That's the big one. You've then got to keep people retained. So it's about, like, not just like for DJ mix, it's not just playing the top 20. It's like really dig and be a DJ and find the great records that, you know, I like that saying, that old saying, like, you know, people that introduce you to new music are the people you want to be around. You know, everyone's seen that meme. And I always think that you can do that with YouTube, and you can do that with SoundCloud. Like, you can be that, you know, I hate that word, tastemaker, but it is what it is, you know, like, I hate
Which
that
makes me
word.
think of in flight setting, tastemaker.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. But it is what it kind of does what it does, you know? So yeah, it's about that kind of retention and keeping people watching. And yeah, that's really like, it's such a good platform for anything really. Like, so we built my channel's all about education, but there's obviously big entertainment channels on there, but DJs are like, there's a couple on there. They started maybe 2023 and then up to 700,000 subscribers, and their videos get millions of views, and like they've done maybe 45, 46 videos, and that's it. Like, if you think some YouTubers have done hundreds and thousands, like they've done 46, and they did like 23, and they've got to like 100,000 followers, and it's just gone like that since, you know.
Yeah, it makes me think of DJs like Miss Monique as well. I think she's a great example of someone who really
100%.
committed fully to YouTube, did a lot of mixes, built her fan base on there. And then, because I think one of the challenges is there's YouTube DJs who never really necessarily, I guess, tick the other artist boxes that make people actually want to go and see them live. There seems to be like people who have a huge following on YouTube, but they couldn't necessarily sell tickets to an event. But then there's others who completely can. They build their following on YouTube, and then they can translate that to real life.
Yeah, yeah, there are the ones with big followings. Definitely, they can sell tickets. But also, they've probably got, by then they've got they've got people that go and get them bookings and go and get them team. Like some of the solo ones where it's just them building a big channel and then building big numbers. Sometimes they're missing the part of, oh, I should turn this into bookings, and I should go and go and ask for bookings, because they can look at their analytics, they can see where their fan base is, they can see how old their fan base is, and if their fan base is old enough and in certain areas, then surely the community will turn up for them.
Yeah. And then what about SoundCloud? How have you found that platform? And because obviously you've got, I guess, multiple accounts at this point because you've got individual ones for the labels as well.
We've got 7, I think, or 8 or 9.
So I think I've just started the DMD SoundCloud. I haven't invested anything into it, and I think I have like 13 followers. So this is
Nice.
something that I'm going to take your advice here very
Great.
literally.
Great. Yeah, I honestly, I love SoundCloud. It's literally the first tab I open every morning.
Mm,
Like, I've always opened it. Like, even in that dark time where we lost lots of money, my consistency was, I'm going to turn up and upload music to SoundCloud. I'm going to work with record labels, and I'm going to build data transmission SoundCloud, because that's even that consistency. Every day I'll turn up and upload a track or upload a mix, and that was my consistency that kind of kept me sane, firstly, and
mm-hmm,
kind of got me out of those dark moments of just, how am I going to rebuild this business?
mm-hmm.
But I love it. I love it. You're right. It had a bit of a dip, and then last 5 years since TikTok, it's had a massive resurgence where people will make a short video and then go, they need somewhere to give it away. So it's been SoundCloud. Like, the 18 to 24 markets on SoundCloud is mental. Like, people discover dance music on there. It's one of the most discoverable platforms for dance music.
Mm.
Like, I think, and the big stat for SoundCloud is, 98% of people use SoundCloud on their phone and use the app rather than use the desktop. So it's, how do
Did
you
not know
look on
that.
your app? Yeah,
I
it's
am
mental.
completely desktop. I use it because I always
Me
use it for
too.
working.
I'm in the 2%. I'm literally, but
Me
then,
too.
but like, buy link doesn't work on desktop. Like, if you're giving away a free download the buy link button where you put the free download button doesn't work. So you need to put the link in the description, and all your links in the
Mm,
description. And also, like, getting people to comment, like, use SoundCloud like a social media, because it is a social media. It's got comments, it's got likes, it's got shares, it's got messaging. It's a social media, but with audio. Like, so when you're saying, I've got a new free download, and you're putting free download in the title, and you can listen to it, in the description, put, if you want my free download, comment free download, and I'll DM you. Unfortunately, at the moment, you can't put an automation in place, but
mm.
you could manually go and DM people the link, because it's pretty easy. And by doing it, you're kind of creating that conversation and having a messaging platform using the messaging. So, like, you can see all your top fans, the people that listen to your music the most. You can go and message them from the SoundCloud for Artists platform, which again is free to have. Like, you can go and log into SoundCloud for Artists and see who your top fans are, where they're in the world, who's the most engaged, and then message them and say, thanks for being engaged. Like, I've just dropped a
Mm.
new track. I wanted to message you and give it to you first and see what you think. Or message them a private link to the new track that's coming out in a week or something. I've got a new track dropping on Friday. I thought I'd just message you and say, here, have a listen to it first, and really connect with
Mm.
your fan base free beforehand. Similarly, you can see your most unengaged. Like, you can see, oh, I see you're into music way back. Like, change the messaging. I see you were into my tracks a while back. I've not heard from you or seen you for a bit. Like, I just thought I'd reach out and say, I've got a new track. Would you? I hope you enjoy this one. I hope you come back, and maybe someone
Mm.
just forgot about you, and that reconnection maybe turns them into an engaged fan. And yeah, and the big thing for growing is like reposts, comments, likes. So get people engaging on your platform. Get people use Hyped for free downloads, and get people
Mm.
and get them to repost and comment and like, because it just does drive engagement.
The
Like,
other thing
use
that,
repost exchange. Like, that's mental for growing
okay.
reposts.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
or even set yourself a budget. Like, if you're dropping a track, set yourself a budget for getting repost, and pay for some of the repost channels to push it out to their audience, because that's organic, and it's like you're hitting people that have got fan base that will be into your music, and do that right, and you can grow a track really rapidly.
The other thing that SoundCloud is good for is messaging artists and DJs if you want to send your promos and stuff, because not many people do it. I heard that apparently in Australia, that's where everyone is. That's where, instead of sending people your songs on Instagram, you send it to them on SoundCloud. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's something that I'm excited to do, honestly, because I'm with you. I absolutely love SoundCloud as a platform. It's music first with all
Mm.
the other kinds of content that are out there. It gives you almost a bit of a break because you're like, I don't have to be a video editor and all these things. I can just think about music curation and building relationships around that. So that's a
Yeah, I was
really
thinking about that
nice
kind of
thing.
content as well. Like, I was thinking about a bit of YouTube video that's coming out in a couple of weeks about, well, it might be out by the time this is out, but if it's, go and check out on YouTube. It was about, like, you don't have to make short form content. Like, think of ways, there are ways to use platforms like SoundCloud, and maybe email, and maybe a WhatsApp group, and that can be your output. You can upload stuff and just send it out to this, build a WhatsApp group of friends and people that are into your music, take them out of platforms and get them into a platform like a messaging platform or an email platform, and sort of just connect with them that way, or use the DMs in SoundCloud and just really use that be your one platform, and you grow there. Because like we think when artists are starting, they don't have much content, but they can make loads of edits. Like there's a guy who made an edit a week last year, and he literally grew from like 200 followers. I think I was his 200th follower, and I saw him at 200 because I was chatting to him in his Discord. And then by the end of the year, he was up to 10,000 followers because he challenged himself to do an edit a week, and he used it, and he just really just grew an email database, and just was messaging them that his new edit was out, and really just come that kind of cycle of the fans seeing the new edits and the new edits dropping, and also the challenge from a production point of view. Can I make an edit a week? Like, can I push myself? Because it's going to, at the end of the year, like build a really good community for myself, and it worked for him.
Nice. Also, I'm thinking from a producer point of view, you find your favorite kick drum, you find your favorite hat, you can start to develop your sound by actually being that, because that's something I'm not good at, is I change the samples and stuff that I use in pretty much every track, and then it's very hard to actually build a consistent sound. So I think this is interesting. I wanted to talk to you actually about artist development, because it's something you've obviously run the Blueprint, which has been your kind of, I mean, I'll let you describe it, but essentially sort of DJ and artist development program. And you've had lots of people that will be well known to people listening and that kind of thing take part in that over the years. What are some of the things you've learned that are pieces of advice that you might be able to give to DJs and artists that are listening from actually watching people through that?
Yeah, so I started one-to-one back like 2017. I started my Instagram 2017 and my YouTube, and because I got a notification the other week, and it was like, you've been doing this for 7 years, and it was just like, I'll just educate. Like, I'll educate. I'd kind of been working with an artist before that for 3 years, and essentially learned so much about getting his music signed to some really great labels like Hot Creations, and from that he kind of took off and went on his way, and it was really cool to watch all that. And then I started like just using that knowledge that I didn't even know I had, that I just like, because I've just been doing certain things for such a long time, like building a SoundCloud and building an Instagram and building these channels, and knew all these record labels from working with them from Data Transmission for probably 6 or 7 years. Like, I had all these contacts and networks. It was like, well, I'll just start putting out what I know onto Instagram and the YouTube channel. And then after about a year, I sort of said, I'll start doing one-to-one, and I'll take on 10 people, and we'll see how that goes. And if you want some more information, like, I've used one story on Instagram, and just DM me if you want the information. And like 250 basically signed up for the one-to-one. And we were like, oh, shit, this is bigger than we thought. Wow, this is mental. Firstly, so we actually took on 20 because we were like, I think I can take. I think that I know I've got the time. I can see my calendar. I've got the time for it. Like, I know I can handle that. Like, let's just do that. And then after that was like 2017, 2018. So we did that for a few years, and then obviously the pandemic happened. So we carried on through the pandemic, and that really helped us through the pandemic, because people were still making music and still wanting to get label stuff signed. And yes, there was no gigs, but there are other things like streaming, and it just kind of evolved through that time. And then from the pandemic, after that I was like, well, I've got too many. I was just getting a bit burnt out. I was getting, there's only so much ceiling point, and there's only so many people you can talk to in a week, and there's only so much you can do. And it was like, how do I start reaching more people and helping more people? So we built the course, the Artist Blueprint, and that then just packages everything into one place, and it stops me saying the same thing. This is one thing I was finding with the one-to-ones. I was repeating myself in every call, like, which is fun, but also gets a bit like, I've just said this 5 times before.
You can't remember if you said it to that person or said it to someone else.
So it's like, right, let's just put it into one place in the Artist Blueprint, and then now we've had like 200 students in that, which has been really cool. Like, we've had some massive results. We've had, as much as we've had massive results, like people are getting signed to really big labels and being like some really great, like people playing for Ultra and starting their own labels and playing it, like some people playing at, some people start opening at Amnesia and playing at High every month and having starting on world tours, it's also something for me. It's like the little results, like someone getting their first track signed, and then they get into the top 10 releases on Beatport, and they're just like literally like, this has made my year. Like those results are so much, literally so much. For me, they're bigger than the big results, because they're just, you're helping that person get to the start point and the next point and the next point, and it kind of gives them that confidence of like, I can. I've not just been sitting on my own in my bedroom, and I have someone I can talk to, and I can have someone that can listen to my music and look at my social, and just like really, be a voice that knows what they're talking about, that kind of helps me go along,
Yeah, you're
and
helping
the
take someone from being an observer of something to actually being an
part of
active
it.
participant. Yeah.
And then also that's like when they get problems, it's like, I've had this, or I've been offered this, what do you think? And it's like, well, I wouldn't take that because of this, this and this, or yes, this is definitely good for you, you should definitely take this, and this is how I respond to the offer, and to get the most out of it,
Yeah.
and being that sounding board for people, and got so many great friends out of it now, got some great students out of it, and just really like, I love it. Like the platform is in a curriculum, and it's all online, but it's also, we have weekly group calls where I'm in them every week, and like, I literally have to be on death's door for them not to happen. Like, Shelley, my partner, will look at me and go, "You're not doing it this week because you're dying, and you need to go to bed." I'll still be going, "Oh, go on, let me do it." I love doing
Shelley's
them. They're
like,
so
I'm
fun.
as invested in this as you are, but I'm also invested in your health.
Yeah. So I've got, that's it. You need to go to bed because you're not well, and you're literally like, you look at you can barely function, and you're not going to give the best advice. You're going to just be like, you should go to bed. And I'm like, okay, because otherwise I just love them so much. I turn up and I'm like, let's go. Like, yeah. So that's the group calls, and then obviously we have data transmission, so we just use all the platform where we can to push them through any part of it. From the network to my personal connections to everything, which then really helps them.
Yeah. What's your point of view on self-releasing versus labels?
I honestly, um, I like it. Like, I think, like, we've got a few, because I mean, there's self-releasing, but there's also self-releasing and having your own label that's just you on the label. So it's like,
Yep.
you're kind of releasing on a label, but you're you are self-releasing.
Yeah. Like Portia is
And
probably the biggest kind of example of someone who's done that.
yeah, like, we've got artists that, I think, because a lot of it is consistency, and as much as I hate that, again, I hate that word, but it is about just reminding your fans you're here every time, and not having big gaps in your release strategy. If you're an artist that's releasing music, then sometimes you can't control when the releases happen. So you might have a release in, like, it's May now, so you might have a release in May, but then you might not have one until August, and it's like, well, then you've got this big gap of the summer. What do you fit it with? Maybe you fit it with a free download, which then becomes a release, or maybe you fit it with a self-release release, because then you can kind of keep the consistency and keep your monthly listeners growing, and kind of keep building your audience. If you're into a track, and like, maybe you've had some demo feedback. We have a demo feedback on my YouTube where we just give kind of feedback and go, this is cool, or this is not cool, or you should do this. Like, using the things that's out there for all the artists, like those sort of things, and having like a little private WhatsApp group of people that you really trust, that are other producers, that will give you honest feedback, that go, it's not ready yet, or it is ready, but you can't get, it's not, a label won't sign it, but you're into it, then yeah, release it and keep building momentum. Like, understand like what it takes to be a label, because then when you start working with labels, you work better with them, because you know more of the parts of the process, and you can bring something to that collaboration that is you and the label, which then is a much bigger prospect for the label and you, the artist. Like, you're coming with ideas, and you're going, right, I want to do this as my release strategy, and then they're going, well, great, that's already thought of, then what do we think of? We'll kind of think of something else that comes, and it pushes both to be better.
Yeah.
So the release grows. And then, yeah, I really like it. Like, also, just going back to your question about what mistakes, like, I thought about that. Sometimes it's celebrating the really little wins, like just accepting that something didn't go as big as you wanted it to, but what did go right of that release, and just celebrate those little tiny wins, just kind of keep yourself grounded. And also, just don't, if stuff is happening for you and it is kind of moving forward, just remain like, don't get too into your own game, and don't, because if you start trying to ask for stuff that's not beyond where you are, then you can come across as like too big-headed and too kind of, demanding, and just really accept where you are. And that's a cool place to be. And you want to get to the next step, but that isn't 5 steps down the road. It's the next step. And what is the next step? If you've had loads of release, I was thinking about these like the weekend, like if you had 2 circles on a screen and one was, I might make this as a visual for content, so it might be on my Instagram by the time you see it, because I thought about the weekend. Like there's 2 kind of circles of fans, like yours, your producer fans, and then there's your DJ, your fans, which of you DJing, right? And when you start off, you start filling in the producer fans because you have all your producer mates, and you start filling up that pot of like producer mates, and they're into you, and they might buy your tracks on Beatport, and they might kind of support you in that way. But they aren't the fans that might come to the gigs. They're kind of, so this kind of side, the other side, where your fan circle sort of stays empty a little bit, and then you need to start building the content, and you're kind of, and that could be from doing gigs, and it could be doing from social content, it could be doing YouTube mixes, whatever. You need to start filling that side in, because if you don't fill that side in, then you're never going to get booked, and that's not going to help with grow you as an artist, So you need to fill both in sort of simultaneously, which sounds a lot, but it is possible with the right content and the right kind of strategy. And if you haven't filled in your DJing fan side, then when you're pitching for gigs, then you can't expect to be headlining. You can't expect to be this, because you're not bringing enough to the table to warrant the amount of tickets that a promoter will need that you to not essentially sell, but basically be worth for you to sell, for them to sell that party out,
Yeah. Similar to when you start a label, you get a better understanding of what it is to be a label. If you throw your own parties, you get a better understanding of what it is to be a promoter. And it's not something I've done a lot, but it's something I've done a few times. But then the only negative thing I think sometimes on that is I then almost become too empathetic with everybody and not enough of a like ego DJ. I'm like,
yeah,
your job is so hard. I'm like,
yeah,
not demanding enough.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, it is. You have got to believe your own ego a little bit, and you have got to lean into it a little bit. But but there also is like, don't ask the stuff that is just like really thick. Like, is this request too stupid? Like, am I requesting something that's just like beyond it? Like, again, do the business. Is the business like, have you like, if you're asking to do something with a label, have you released on that label? Have you released on their main label? And if not, then the business doesn't work. Like, you can't, like, you have to be humble enough to go, I'll start at the bottom and I'll work my way up. And just ego check sort of thing.
Yeah. So I want to talk about gather, give, grow. And the first thing I wanted to
Love it.
That old thing. The first thing I wanted to ask was why those 3 words and what each of them mean in the context of you and your book.
Yeah, do you know, so I saw this video on YouTube, on Instagram, and it was someone that said their 3E strategy for Instagram. And I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. And I was like, but my game doesn't begin with E, it begins with G. And
I love this. It's so not. I hadn't made that link at
and I was like, what can my words be? I like the 3. I like the kind of what their strategy was. It was quite cool, and it was quite like, it was simple enough that you could understand it, and it was like, but could give enough depth that you wanted to. And I was like, but my name doesn't begin with E, it begins with G. And like, I love that book, Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. It's like, which is basically kind of everything is taken from and evolved, and everything is stolen. Every piece of art is stolen and evolved on. Like, if you think when you're making music, you'll grab a reference track and essentially reference it, but then it will turn into something that's yours. But you've essentially stolen the layout and the strategy, and and the kind of flow of a track, and where the drops are, and where a certain thing comes in, but then essentially you've made your own track from it, but you've still stolen what they did, and they've stolen it from somebody else, and they've stolen it from somebody else, because certain things just work. And I was like, well, and I went in, I literally just took their thing, and I downloaded it, and I typed up their strategy and put it into ChatGPT and said, this is a cool strategy, I really like this, but it doesn't begin with a G, and my name begins with a G, and I want it to be a G. And then it was like, it came back with a few, and I was like, I don't like that, and I don't like that. And I used AI like that. I use it all like, it will suggest stuff, and I'm like, I don't like that. That doesn't make any sense. And I'll go back and forth.
Sometimes I tell it, I'm like, this is cheesy. Send me something cooler.
Yeah, I do. I've got I've got ways of kind of like, when you use anything enough, you kind of make it your own, you know. And we got there with Gather, Give and Grow. I've got one here. Look, there's a nice one here. Look, they're nice, aren't they?
Lovely.
But essentially, it's like, gather your tribe. Essentially, like by setting up your page, like for Instagram, if you start with your page, like you need to start gathering people because they're into the same sort of music as you. So what's in the bio? I always think like your bio, your picture, that's always when I start looking at, when I audit Instagrams, I'm like, can you see you? Can you clearly see you? Can the information in the bio tell people what they're coming into, like what you're about, and can you gather people just from that bio? I started playing an old game recently, and I started just a social media for that, and then I was like, I'm not going to post anything, but this is what I'm about. I've been playing this game since the 80s, and this channel is about that sport, that game, and this channel at the moment is about research and just understanding. But I gained like 100 followers just from kind of being active in the comments and gathering a little crew of people that followed me. But even though I had posted a single thing, because I was being active and gathering fans by literally commenting on stuff, being active, being kind of present in the atmosphere, being in the platform, and then just kind of gathering information about like what content works, what content, watching lots of content in that space and for that game, or what people are reacting to, and what people are enjoying. And then you go into that kind of, right, now I've got that information and I've got a bit of a plan and a strategy, then I can go into the my give, which is my content and my strategy, and how to use the platform to give the best pieces of content that's right for the user. Because then you're making content for the person that's watching. You're using the right surface of the platform, especially with Instagram. In this case, it's like, maybe it's reels, maybe it's carousels, maybe it's stories, maybe it's alive. But you understanding each of those 7 or 8 surfaces so that you really give the right piece of content for the platform, which is so important. And then the grow is like, right, these are tactics to grow. Like it's about how much content you're putting out, but also things like using automations and using managed chat and using influencers to grow and using other tools that can help you grow your account. And that then turned into, right, I've got this. That sort of was just like happened. That strategy kind of came about. And then at the same time, I started writing a book last summer. I've always wanted to write a book. I always think that a book is like an album for an artist. Like I've dropped lots of YouTube singles and YouTube videos as singles over the last 7 years. And I've built a community that potentially would buy a book. That was always the fingers crossed. Like maybe people will buy it. Like, and then I've got this album basically, because I've got, like, if you think every YouTube video is a script, and every script is essentially 22 pages of words, and could you then turn all of those scripts into a book? And if I gave them all to, the first thought was, if I give them all to AI, can it just generate me a book? It couldn't do that. It failed miserably. Like, it literally took about 4 weeks of chunking through all the data and come up with something that's absolutely rubbish. And I was like, okay, there's another way to do this. I'll just give it, like, I'll copy and paste all the scripts in and see what it could be, what could be the kind of strategy. And then a little bit later, I was like, well, I've got this Gather, Give and Grow. Maybe I'll turn into that. That's quite cool. And it kind of gives it certain sections, and then we can use certain parts of certain scripts in certain sections, and it kind of rearranges all the thoughts of YouTube, but into these 3 sections and these 3 strategies. And then the book, and then now we've got these books, which is like,
I mean, I always felt like books. I'm like a massive reader, but also because I like the depth that you go into when you sit down with a book. It's like,
yes,
you absorb. I read everything on my iPad, but because I can highlight, then I can write out the bits that I liked. And so I think it's a great way to kind of, take what you've learned and put it in a way where someone can actually just sit with it. They can take it on holiday when they're having a break, and they can kind of do some passive development of the thing that they want to do or they want to learn more about.
Yeah, I agree. And also, just people learn differently. Like, so we have the course, which has got all the how-to and the kind of real depth. And we have an Instagram course as well separately. But also, people just learn from reading, and people learn from doing courses. People also, the next thing for us is the people that learn from being with you and kind of that, hands-on and working with somebody directly.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the summer, we're going to have a content retreat. and it's literally
Nice.
just going to be how to make content. Like literally, I've got some of the best videographers, I've got editors, and I've got people that are really good in front of camera that know how to, that will teach you how to speak if you want to speak in front of camera, and how to come up with ideas and how to generate lots of ideas, because that's sometimes the toughest part.
Yeah. Where are you going to do that?
I found this amazing house in Buckinghamshire where I live. I live in
Mm,
Milton Keynes, so it's literally Milton Keynes. I'm as much as I love all these Ibiza things, I'm really a fan of England. I love England,
yeah.
and I,
Particularly in the
and I
summer.
thought, yeah, and I just thought let's bring people to England. It's a nice place, like especially where we live. It's quite leafy, it's quite green, and like where the house is, it's in the middle of nowhere, so it's like they've got a really nice studio in there. They've got a space for
Mm,
8 people to stay. So yeah, keep an eye on socials and because I
nice.
will be announcing it soon. We're just waiting. They're developing the house, and as soon as it's ready, I'll be pushing go because everything's kind of ready to go. I'm excited about
Yeah.
that.
So, I mean, we've covered quite a lot, and I feel like there's so many things that you've done. So, I'm actually wondering if you could do a quick just wrap up of the best ways that people can engage with you and your work currently and kind of learn with and from you. Obviously, the book is a key one, and that's accessible to
Mm-hmm.
anyone at any time, super affordable. So, that's a good starting place. But,
Yep.
and you've mentioned a retreat is going to be shared soon. What kind of courses are you doing at the moment, or are you focusing more on YouTube content? Where's the best places for people to sponge your knowledge?
The best for me, the best places are YouTube and Instagram. Like
Mm-hmm.
Grahame Farmer on both. It's free. There's so much free content on there. Like then, if you want to go deeper, then it's the book. If you want to go deeper still, it's the Artist Blueprint, or we've got a masterclass now, the Artist Blueprint masterclass. But
Mm-hmm.
they're the deep points. But the free stuff is all YouTube, and then data
Mm,
transmission is still all at data transmission. Like we have a radio station, we have 5 record labels, we have still got the blog, the website, which we upload content to every day. We still premiere music on our YouTube channels and SoundClouds every day from artists. And artists can just literally, artists and labels can reach out directly. They don't need to go through
mm,
PR. They don't need to go through, they can literally just hit up me or Shelley.
yeah.
I do all the house techno, and Shelley does all the drum and bass and jungle. And if like we have a radio station where artists can have their own shows, and essentially they have a space on our radio station every week
Mm,
or every month to host their own show, and it's their show, and they can use our platform to build their own things from it. It's really cool.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like every DJ should do radio. It's just the best. Like it's a way to kind of really express yourself and kind of have some consistency with the mixes you put out. But it's also really fun.
Yeah, I love radio. I think
That's it.
I love it. I like if you look at all the big artists, they've all got their own radio shows.
Mm,
Like it's a way to be expressive, and it's a way to you can build massive fan bases from having radio shows. Like one of the guys on our radio station, he had a show for like 4 years, and by the end of the show, he was getting remixes opportunities. He was getting signed to record labels because he was just commenting, you know using people's music all the time. Like the similar artist, he was just digging their music, and he was supporting their music on his show on our radio station. So every month he'd be like, on my data transmission radio show, I've got tracks from these artists, and they'd see it in the tags and the hashtag and in the tags. And then they'd reach out to him and go, I see you're supporting your music. We really love it. And thanks so much. And then they just start that networking opportunity. And from that,
mm,
then you can get booked, you can get gigs, you can build your own record label, but you can also work with other people and get signed to other people. So
yeah.
there's so much you can have from a radio station.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think that kind of concludes our hour, and I try and keep these sort of packaged within that time. I'm really glad that we could do this, and
Thank
I
you.
will get in touch over email.
Amazing. Thank you. No worries. Good to speak to
I'll
you. Good to see
catch
you. Thanks
you.
for having me.
Catch you in a few days.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
See you. Bye.